I'm Heather Raffa from Renegade Upcycled Goods, and I'm starting my next lamp project. I need to thin out some porcelain 150 turquoise with some of the PBO porcelain 150 thinner. It's not like a traditional paint thinner. It's what you like when you mix watercolor with water to thin out the paint. It's sort of like that. It's the paint that you use to thin, or the thinner that you use to thin out the PBO paints and still have it have adhering qualities. And this stuff is very watery and kind of hard to control the pouring out of this little paint bottle. I'll try adding just a little bit at a time first. The issue is that I want to make sure that I have enough actually mixed to cover the entire bottle, because this process moves quickly. And once I start painting, I need to actually just, it takes time, but I need to constantly keep moving. It's not like making soup and I can just keep tossing stuff in the pot. It's more like making stir fry. You have to have everything ready to go, because it happens. You got to keep moving, you know. Now this is just going to be kind of a test run to see how smooth this is flowing here. I'm going to be wiping this off. It is so full of air bubbles. That's not what I want. And it's not going on very smoothly. I have this on top of this jug on top of a jar, because I want to paint all the way from this lip all the way down to this bottom edge. I am not very happy with that. Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to paint this the way I was hoping. I was hoping to make a nice drip edge and just keep helping it drip. That is not going to work on this. So, and this is too wobbly. So I'll get here, tape roll. Maybe that'll, yeah, that's a lot more stable. Okay. So, clean that off. And I have already cleaned the jug with rubbing alcohol. Although I'm going to be cleaning with some more now, so I can get some of that sort of scum off. Oops, scum off there from trying out the paint. And making a mess. Okay. So I'll mix up a little bit more of this. And once I put it together, I think I'm going to need to stir it carefully as opposed to shaking it. Try to get all the air bubbles out that way. Not too much of that. It's very, very thin. Okay. Let's make sure this jug is dry before we get going. The paint does not adhere very well if you put it on glass that is wet or with water or with rubbing alcohol. It needs to be clean and dry. Okay, I think I'm going with plan B. We'll see. I'm going to give this a stir, give it one more try to see if I can get the nice smooth drip that I want, which is a technique I used on the Scarlet Red lamp. I just went around and around in a nice smooth drip. Yeah, that's not going to work. So it looks like I am reverting to brushing on a thin coat all over as smoothly as I can, and then adding coats. The lamp that I'm wanting to make for myself has been the hardest one that I've had to work with so far. Things are not going as I would like. So this is a pretty basic technique. I thought I was going to show you a technique that I hadn't shown you on the videos yet, although I had used it once without making a video. But that technique is just not working out with this project because I want a very light colored coat. I don't want this to be really super dark turquoise. And so I wanted to use thinner, and that just makes it really streaky even though I was dripping it. So you've seen me do this a lot already. I won't show too much of it. Basically, I'm just, for the first coat, I'm going to brush this on vertically, and then for my next coat, I'm going to go around horizontally. And that's all there really is to it. I have my experiment jug I've been working on too. This is really sticky. I'm just not happy with this. This is not what I was looking for. There are really light parts and really dark parts. I wanted it just overall very smooth. They do have porcelain paints, vitriol or something like that, I think, that are made to go on very smoothly. You sort of pour them, but they're not dishwasher safe. They're not as sturdy a paint, and I'm not sure how well it would work on a shaped surface like this. I think it's made for making sort of stained glass looking pieces, so you could have a flat piece of glass and kind of brush pour it into the space and let it lay flat to dry for a very long time. But I haven't tried that paint, so I don't really know. Sure. One of the problems is when I brush this paint, it wipes off the paint. I don't know if you can see that, but I brush up, and as I get to the end, it's wiping off the paint at the end of my stroke. So when I go to overlap, it's wiping off the paint that was in the underlayer. And if I go the other way, I've got a similar issue, only it leaves kind of a ball of paint, and some of it gets wiped off. So I don't know if I want to keep painting it. I could paint on several thin coats and figure when I'm done they'll be smooth overall. Or I could just try unthinned paint. Maybe I'll try a little patch of unthinned paint after I finish this one little spot as I don't leave it naked. Let's see how this looks unthinned and try to do the drip technique all around. I think it's going to be awfully dark. I want it to be very light. Let a lot of light through the glass. The technique I wanted to show you, I was hoping to do the whole thing from top to bottom, is taking a thick, heavily loaded brush, brush it across, and you would go all the way around, and then brush it across. And then you would keep this sort of drip line going. It's not really like we were doing it now that as well as it did before. It's been red for some reason. Yeah, it's more like it. So it would be like drip. But I didn't have these brush stroke issues I'm having now. Put it on super thickly. And it's more like a controlled drip. So I just added to the drip. But I'm not getting the same effect with this. Maybe partially that I've become a little impatient because this isn't going well. So I'm going to have to clean that off. One nice thing about working with glass, it's really hard to get the paint to stick, but it's really hard to get the paint to stick. So you can clean it off. So wipe it clean, wipe it dry. I guess I'll just keep going around the way I was just showing you. And that's just step one. I'll be adding more stuff later.